Good morning, my friends. This is Tyra Jarvis coming to you live for Transformation Tuesday. Come to you live every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Pacific time, and we've been exploring mindset, motivation, and transformation, various forms of and various topics related to those themes, if you will. And themes have evolved over the course of the time that I've been doing this. So I really enjoy this. It helps me connect with my community, and it also helps me get some clarity around some of the things that I'm dealing with, and sharing those in case those might have something to do with things that you're dealing with. So today what's coming to mind is really investing in yourself and investing in what it's going to take for you to seize opportunities and seek solutions and seize opportunities. And what I've discovered for myself is that it can be really challenging. We've talked about it, especially related to COVID. At the same time, and then the more experienced we are, the more senior we are, the more decades of experience that we have dealing with maybe frustration, failure, things that we've tried that haven't worked, things that are disappointments, discouragements. And what ends up happening is we almost have a learned helplessness. We take on a training, a life training, if you will, that can cause us to not even see opportunities, much less have the courage to seek them or to actually to take an action towards one. So I'm just going to ask you, if you reflect on your life, however long or short it has been, are you allowing maybe the past to limit you or to thwart you, rather than look at the things that you could learn from your past experiences and bring those things that you want to bring forward with you? And there's some exercises that you could do about that. But I just want you to look at, there are opportunities everywhere. And are you saying no to things that you should be saying yes to? I know I almost passed on a meeting. I might have passed on maybe a difficult conversation, reaching out to someone to clear some things up. So it could be anything around opportunities, invitations that you might be passing on, conversations that you're backing away from. And we allow this trained, learned helplessness to possibly stop us from taking what would really be a breakthrough. And maybe it's the right time for you to have a breakthrough in whatever area of life that you're looking to have. So looking at your experiences accurately and assessing those, and just ask yourself, what was the universe attempting to teach me in this situation? And what was I intended to learn? And what should I bring forward? And that may be in any area of your life. So it could be in your health, your work, your money space. It could be in relationships. It could be in your lifestyle. You're not where you want to be. It could be even in play. I apply this same process and technique to my golf. And you look at the actual data. You look at the actual numbers. You could do that same thing if you're in sales. You could look at your business results, whatever it is. Look at maybe what you want to bring forward about what you learned. And some have said that it's just the universe pointing you in another direction if something didn't work out the way you thought it would. And to really not get too attached to the outcome, because you want to be on your toes, ready to flow with whatever opportunity might actually present itself on a day-to-day basis. So list the, maybe looking back, reflective time, take a little bit of time and just look at, what are the times that you've been frustrated, or you felt you failed, or you didn't achieve something that you were setting out to, and what really could you learn from that, and what would you bring forward for that, right? And, the two tools that my mentor, Darren Hardy, mentioned this week that he does every day relentlessly is that he studies and he plans every day. And even if it's just 30 minutes that he reads from a book, that an educational book that he wants to learn from. And I think those two things are really key, because continuing to grow your skills and invest in yourself, either by studying, learning, whatever that is for you, is one way that you can move forward and be ready when opportunities show up, and be more resilient, if you will, constantly looking at your skills and your capabilities. And this Albert Schweitzer quote was pretty cool. I looked it up this morning. It was, once you stop learning, you start dying. And so it doesn't really matter how experienced you are or how old you are chronologically. Really looking at learning as something that is lifelong, and it's something that you're going to continue to do and that you're going to invest in. And one of the tools that I use is called an individual development plan. We use those when I worked within the Bell system, and they were required every year. Upon completion of a performance review, you would do an accurate assessment about what your development plan was, and you would work with your manager on that. And I work with my clients on something similar, and I would encourage you to go through the same process. And it doesn't really get to matter that it's March, in the middle of March. You can start a new year. You can start any time. So what you want to do is really get in touch with your why, or your intentions, and who you are in the world. And a focus on your long-term vision, which could be anywhere 3 or 5 years out there, what you're hoping to create with your life in any of those domains that I mentioned. And then what would the near-term goals be? So you would figure out that longer-term vision and then unfold backwards, and what would need to be in place for you in the 12 to 36-month time period. And then what about the immediate plan, which would be the next chronological year, which would be March through February of next year. And you make a current plan of the things that you really want to step out into and do. And then you really start to look at, strengths. Do you have the efficacy? Do you have the capability? Do you have the strengths to be able to do that? And one of the tools that I really love is the Gallup Strength Finder. And if you go to Gallup.com, you can take a 45-minute assessment for less than $20, and it will identify for you your top 5 strengths. And what's unique about the Gallup work is Gallup did some work early on in the 80s. They surveyed tons of workers, and they found that all humans have 34 strengths in rank order. And, as employers, as managers, as leaders, as individuals, as parents, if we identify what those top 5 strengths are, and we look to align ourselves to those strengths rather than develop on shoring up the cellar, if you will, or the weaknesses of those strengths, we would be far more productive. Employees and people would be more engaged, more inspired by what they're doing, because they would be aligned by the stuff that's really aligned with their strengths. So if you're not sure what your strengths are, the Gallup Strength Finder is a great way to discover what your strengths are. There's a book. It's fabulous. And I really, in corporate America, it was always, but here are your development focuses, and this is what I want you to focus on. And this flipped that on its ear, if you will, because it really felt that no matter what you do in the development area, you're missing the opportunity to really capitalize on strengths, individual strengths. So I would encourage you to know what your strengths are. And in the reports that you get, it actually tells you how to manifest those, how they show up at work or in your career. They give you examples of people that have those strengths. And I really like whether you like Tiger Woods or not, I really like the example in the book about Tiger because they talk about, obviously he's having some serious health crisis issues right now with his recent accident. But when you look at the rigor and the gosh, excuse me. When you look at the rigor that he puts into his preparation and his training and his practicing, and what they said, if I remember correctly, is that his strength was his iron game or his full swing, and his maybe vulnerability was his bunker play, but he only practiced his bunker play enough to mitigate any damage that it might do to his game. He spent the 80% of his time working on his strengths and making them stronger. And that's what I'm advocating here. So if you know your strengths, but then if you know that there's a skill gap or you're missing something, excuse me, and you have a developmental focus, what I would encourage you to do is commit and invest in yourself. Invest in your personal and professional development. Again, whichever domain that is. And in your developmental focus, it could be around health. It could be learning a new eating plan or, figuring out some way that you can make that easier in your life. In your work, it could be decision making. It could be selling. It could be speaking, whatever that is. Identify what those 4 skills are that you want to learn in any given year. And then, again, from Darren Hardy, his technique would be, take that topic, decision making. I want to make better decisions, and just do a Amazon search on the top 10 books on decision making and start reading them and commit to them. And you want to commit to a new skill every quarter. And if you commit to reading the books, and then it's, yes, we're virtual. So you can go online, you can look for webinars on decision making. And then, if we were doing live retreats or live, but there are virtual summits on leadership or, speaking, whatever that could be. And then a specific action might be, if you want to speak better or have better presentation skills, you might join Toastmasters. Or if you want to make better decisions, you might practice where you're not making really good decisions and just push yourself and challenge yourself. And so this development plan can be really simple, but it's some visioning and reimagining what you want your future to be like. And it's setting some specific actions, but it's really looking at the strengths that you want to bring to play. And then it's looking at any developmental focus, any skill gap that you might have that would help you move forward a little bit quicker. And so when you look, you're looking for things that can help you stay resilient and get back up and continue to push your comfort zone or whatever that is, or this, entrenched training that has caused you to stay maybe smaller, maybe more fearful, less courageous. And you want to look for, what opportunities, what invitations, what, conversations might you have. So I reached out this week to a couple of clients to have conversations. I'm meeting with a colleague tomorrow. So I accepted yes to the invitation of that. And just looking for, not trying to overthink what the opportunity would be, but just catch yourself when you're saying no to things that your gut level is telling you should say yes to. So with that, I'm going to wrap. Just remember that investing in yourself, whether that's your self-care and restorative practices that you might have, or an actual hard skill that you might want to learn. It could be, for me, improving my golf score, taking lessons, practicing, whatever that's, playing more often, those kinds of applied practice things that will help you learn faster and better. All right. So with that, just so you know, I do have a free gift on my website, tyrajarvis.com. /fulfillment-audio/ which is my 3-part audio program on the fulfillment formula, where I talk about the fundamental essentials around understanding fulfillment. And that goes into the mindset and motivation mastery that you might be working towards. And then your being state and how that bridges you to actually practicing, and what your personal playbook might be for the practices, the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual practices that you might want to put in place to practice fulfillment, so that you have some of that now in your life. Because all of this, the Tony Robbins quote that I like is, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So looking at being successful, but making sure that you're capturing fulfillment every step of the way is what's going to make it the most meaningful for you. So with that, I'm going to wrap. Tune in next week. This is Tyra Jarvis with Kefi Coaching. This is Transformation Tuesday, and I'll be back live 8 a.m. Pacific time next Tuesday. So listen, make it a great day. Consider investing in yourself today and say yes to an opportunity, whatever that looks like for you. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.